What's up, hello, my name is Emma, and today I'm going to be sharing with you guys the books that I bought/received in the month of September. I have some foreign book covers that I ordered offline, I have some of my most anticipated releases for the rest of the year that were sent to me by publishers, and I finally have my dream books. Just as a heads up, my dream books are not special. You're going to be like, Emma, every single person I know has these books. Why is it so special to you? But it has a lot of significance to me, and I am just so unbelievably happy that I finally have them. To add to the excitement of this book haul, I want to thank Scribd for sponsoring this video. If you have not heard of Scribd, it is a subscription service that grants you access to an unlimited amount of ebooks and audiobooks. Though audiobooks especially can get really expensive, Scribd is only $8.99 per month, and you are able to take out and listen to or read however many books you please. I started using Scribd earlier this month, and I'm really satisfied with the service so far. They have a ton of new releases and backlist titles, a lot of books that I'm anxious to listen to on audio, so I'm really excited to get through more of their collection. On Scribd, I'm currently listening to The Last Time I Lied by Riley Sager, which is an adult psychological thriller about a girl whose cabin mates disappeared from her summer camp many years ago. She was the last person to see them, but they haven't been found since, and as an adult, she's now returning back to this camp the year it reopens for the first time to teach art and potentially put together some clues to find out what happened to those girls all those years ago. I'm still in the beginning, but I'm really enjoying it so far. It's fulfilling all of my expectations, and I expect it to be a really good read for me. So if you are interested in checking out The Last Time I Lied yourself, you can check the link in the description below, and it will take you right to its landing page on Scribd, where you can either read it or listen to it. So thank you again to Scribd for sponsoring this video. I'm telling you guys right now, I will be abusing that unlimited book checkouts feature because I just cannot stop listening to audiobooks lately, and I'm really happy I found and started using this service. Alrighty, let's start off with some awesome UK book covers of some books that I love. The first book I bought is Winter Girls by Laurie Halse Anderson. I first saw this cover on Hannah from A Clockwork Readers channel, and I just fell in love with it. As soon as I saw it, I was like, I need this. Winter Girls follows a girl named Cassie who has recently lost her best friend from childhood to an eating disorder, and as Cassie has anorexia herself, they sort of fed off of each other's toxic habits in the past, but now Leah is dead and Cassie has no closure. So it is all about Cassie's struggle with anorexia, about her dealing with the grief of losing a friend and not being able to save her, and just coming to terms with a lot of truths in her life. I read Winter Girls 2 years ago, and I really loved this novel. I feel it really encaptured my experience as a teen with anorexia, and I think it does a great job of representing what it is like to live with such a disorder. I really love this cover. I love the hot pink spine, and I'm super happy I have it. The next UK cover I bought is Daughter of the Burning City by Amanda Foody. Daughter of the Burning City is Amanda Foody's debut novel. It takes place in this fantastical traveling city called Gomorrah, where our main character, Serena, has the ability to create illusions that are not real. They are just projections, but they do act as real people. They have their own personalities, their own character interactions. So things take a tragic turn when there is somebody in Gomorrah killing off her illusions one by one. And so Serena really has to investigate, find out who it is that are killing their illusions, why, and especially how, because they are not real. I loved Daughter of the Burning City so much. I am such Amanda Foody trash. I think her books are fantastic, and she's one of the most talented YA authors to be published in the last few years. I love her books so much. I'm super excited to add to the collection I have of her books. And then the final UK cover I bought for this little section of the haul is City of Ghosts by Victoria Schwab, which is her newest middle grade release. I read City of Ghosts about a month or two ago. I got an ARC at BEA and I was really excited to read it. I ended up really enjoying it. I thought it was just like a cute, entertaining middle grade paranormal story, and I'm just so happy to have this gorgeous UK cover. I think this cover is miles better than the US cover, so I actually just opted to buy this one because I just think it's so striking and it really captures the essence of the book. City of Ghosts is another book that follows a main character named Cassie, and she has the ability to pull back the veil between the human world and the spirit world and interact with ghosts. So when Cassie's parents sign up to host a TV show on the world's most haunted places and her family uproots to Edinburgh, Cass ends up meeting another girl who has the same abilities as her and can interact with ghosts, and she begins to learn that her powers are much deeper and darker than she ever imagined. It's a super cute story. It is perfect for the fall, spooky Halloween season, and I would definitely recommend it, and I would especially recommend this gorgeous cover, which I am so obsessed with. Next, I have two exciting anthologies that were sent to me by HarperCollins, so thanks so much, Harper. But the first book they sent me is Black Enough, which is a collection of short stories about what it is like to be a Black teen in America, and it is edited by Ibby Zaboy. It features authors like Justina Ireland, Varian Johnson, Rita Williams Garcia, Danielle Clayton, Kiki Magoon, Leah Henderson, Tochi Onyebuchi, Jason Reynolds, Nick Stone, Liara Tamani, Renee Watson, Tracy Baptiste, Co Booth, Brandy Colbert, Jay Coles, Ibby Zaboy, and Lamar Giles. I love Danielle Clayton, I love Nick Stone, I love Brandy Colbert, and there's a lot of other authors that I'm very excited to read from in the future on here, but I'm just super pumped about this anthology. Diversity in literature is something that I'm very passionate about and I really try to promote on my channel, so I just think that this release is going to be so great. It's literally just like, what, 12 own voices short stories about Black youth written by Black authors. I think it's amazing. I'm really excited for it. It comes out January 2019 and I really cannot wait to read this one. And then the next anthology that Harper sent to me is 1,000 Beginnings and Endings, which is edited by Ellen O. Now this anthology is a bunch of retellings of myths and legends, and so it features authors like Renee Athier, Elise Chapman, Sona Sharapatra, Preeti Chaber, Roshni Chashki, Ali de Bodard, Melissa Dela Cruz, Julie Kagawa, Raul Kanakia, Lori M. Lee, E.C. Myers, Cindy Pan, Ayesha Saeed, Shweta Thakur, and Alyssa Wong. This is another really diverse anthology as all of the authors are South and East Asian, and it deals with the myths and legends from their own cultures. So it's always really exciting to see people writing about their experience, their history, their myths and legends. So I'm very excited for it. Also, this cover is like so dope. I love that it's very simplistic, but it also has all of these little intricate details on it and these allusions to their myths and legends that are featured in the story, so I'm really excited for this one too. The next book that I bought in the month of September is The Golden Tower by Holly Black and Cassandra Clare, which is the 5th and final book in the Magisterium series. Earlier this month, I drove all the way up to South Hadley, Massachusetts in order to see Cassie and Holly for the release of their event. It was also with Scott Westerfeld and David Levithan, and I vlogged the whole event, so if you want to check out that really fun day where me and Doug just drove all the way up just to see Cassie and Holly and come down, you can go watch that. I'll link it below. In preparation for the Magisterium event, I actually caught up on the Magisterium series and I read books 3 and 4 on audio, which I really enjoyed, so I'm very excited to dive into the 5th and final conclusion. One of the cool things that Holly and Cassie said at the event is when they were starting out this story, they had the first paragraph and the last paragraph that remained unchanged, so I'm very interested to see how this like long-awaited conclusion comes out. So now I have two very exciting anticipated releases of mine to share with you guys. The first was sent to me by Macmillan, so thank you so much to Macmillan and Fierce Reads for sending me a copy of Arch Enemies by Marissa Meyer, which is the sequel to Renegades. If you've been watching my channel this year, you probably have heard me talk about Renegades because it is one of my absolute favorites of the year. Oh my gosh, I am so obsessed with this book. The sequel Arch Enemies comes out this November and I cannot believe how excited I am. I genuinely can't remember the last time I was so excited about the sequel to a book that I recently read that I am just, it's taken over my life. Renegades is a story about superheroes and supervillains. It takes place in this world where after a time of anarchy when people were just able to do whatever they like, there is this group of people called Renegades who are all people that have superpowers, and they sort of are like the cops of the world. And then we also have the anarchists who want to take down the Renegades and, you know, form society to what they believe in. So we have Adrian, who is the son of the two heads of the Renegades, and we have Nova, who is an anarchist that the Renegades don't really know much about, so she is able to infiltrate and become a renegade herself to try and bring them down from within. I also have a couple of renegade themed videos that are definitely coming in the weeks leading up to the release of Arch Enemies, but I just cannot wait for it, and I hope if you guys haven't picked up Renegades yet, you will in time for Arch Enemies. The next anticipated release of mine was sent to me by HarperCollins, so thank you so much to Harper for sending me a copy of The Ladies Guide to Petticoats and Piracy by Mackenzie Lee. This is the sequel to The Gentleman's Guide to Vice and Virtue, which came out last year, and I absolutely loved it, so I have been excited for the sequel since. So although this is a series, both books follow different characters. The first book follows a boy named Monty, and the sequel follows his sister named Felicity. This story takes place in the 1700s as Felicity is trying to avoid the marriage proposal of a boy she's not interested in, while also trying to get into medical school. One of Felicity's most idolized physicians has an opening for some research assistants, so she really wants to go, but she has no money for the trip. A mysterious stranger shows up and offers to pay Felicity's way as long as the stranger can pretend to be her maid and travel with her. But this woman has some shady motives, and it just takes off on another really awesome adventure through Europe and all of these perilous adventures, and it just sounds so good. I'm really excited for this book. This is one of the first YA novels I've ever seen that features an aromantic and a sexual main character, so I'm very excited to see how this discussion is handled in a historical fiction setting. But it just sounds so amazing. I have the utmost faith that it's going to be great, and I can't wait to read it. I bought two new releases this month, the first being Escaping from Houdini by Carrie Maniscalco, which is the third book in the Stalking Jack the Ripper series. I just found out like yesterday that there's actually going to be a fourth book in this series, so this one isn't the finale, which is very exciting. If you haven't heard of the Stalking Jack the Ripper series, it takes place in the 1800s following a girl named Audrey who is very interested in forensic science. And so the story just takes place as Audrey interacts with some of these very famed historical figures like Jack the Ripper, Prince Dracula, and now Harry Houdini. From what I know about this third installment, it follows Audrey and her companion Thomas as they enter onto this week-long cruise back to America that is like a carnival, and one woman ends up dead. So Audrey and Thomas, you know, as they do, begin to investigate. Now, I have a complex relationship with the Stalking Jack the Ripper series as I don't really love it, and I'm somewhat perplexed as to why I keep reading these books, but they're just not my favorite. I will say, as I finished book 2 earlier this year, despite still being underwhelmed, I fell in love with the relationship between Audrey and Thomas, and that really is my driving force right now with finishing this series. I feel like I just have a lot of expectations that are just never fulfilled, and I feel like the concept of the book is always better than the execution, but nonetheless, I'm still going into this with an open mind. I'm very excited to read it, and I'm very hopeful that this will be like the turning point where I start to really love this series that I think I have a lot of potential to. And then the next new release that I bought this month is Wild Card by Marie Lu, which is the sequel to Warcross, which was one of my absolute favorite books last year. Warcross is a near-futuristic sci-fi novel where the entirety of society has been shaped by the introduction of virtual reality, and so there is this international phenomenon game called Warcross. Our main character's name is Amika, and she is a bounty hunter for people doing illegal dealings in the virtual world, like betting on Warcross. But one day, she accidentally glitches herself into the opening Warcross games for the entire world to see. Thinking she's going to be killed for committing such a crime, she's actually invited by the creator of Warcross, named Hideo Tanaka, to go all across the world to Tokyo in order to not only compete in the Warcross games, but also investigate some shady happenings in the Warcross world for him. I just loved Warcross so much. I thought it was such a fantastic novel, and I did actually get the opportunity to read Wild Card this month. I definitely will be talking more about Wild Card in my wrap up for this month. Unfortunately though, I really didn't love it. I haven't fully formed my feelings on it because I only just recently finished it, so I'm a little conflicted. It definitely was not my favorite sequel, but we'll see how I have to feel about it in my wrap up for this month. And so before we move on to my dream books, the final book that I bought in the month of August is 30 Second Psychology, edited by Christian Jarrett. So last week I went to Barnes & Noble to do some of my coursework for grad school. I just love being able to go to Barnes & Noble and just sitting down at the cafe or on one of the couches and just doing my schoolwork or reading whatever. So I wasn't necessarily planning on buying any books that day, but as I was walking out, there was this table by the checkout area that just had all of these different 30-second subject books, and I of course saw the psychology one and I was like, I need it. It was also bargain priced for only $10, so like I couldn't resist. But it is essentially just a collection of all of these different topics under the realms of psychology. So for example, you have a lot on the classic theorists like Freud and Jung, but then there's also some of the most famed psychological experiments like the Stanford Prison Experiment, Harlow's monkeys, Pavlov's dogs, etc. And there's also a lot of stuff in here that I haven't learned in my studies in psychology. So I think it'll just be like a cute little introduction to some psychological concepts, experiments, and whatnot. And it just sounds like a really engaging read that I think I'll very much enjoy. So I thought it'd be cute to do a little change of scenery, get some cozy Christmas lights, and sit on my comfy couch to do this section on my dream books. Again, this really isn't special to anyone else but me. I 100% guarantee a lot of you watching have these books. There are millions upon millions and probably billions of copies of them in the world. It's just what they represent to me that's really special. So the books that I have been dreaming about since I was a kid that I bought this month are the original Bloomsbury editions of Harry Potter. I have The Philosopher's Stone, Chamber of Secrets, Prisoner of Azkaban, Goblet of Fire, Order of the Phoenix, Half-Blood Prince, and Deathly Hallows. A lot of you have these books. These are just the books that you've grown up with. Like, they're special because they're Harry Potter, not necessarily because they're the original Bloomsbury editions. But for me, as like a 13-year-old kid living in America, Harry Potter is my entire life. I've read the book so many times I've lost count. I have all the Harry Potter merch. But I just, for some reason, always dreamed about having the original UK Bloomsbury editions. It's no secret that for a really long time, I have just been so obsessed with England. Like, you go back to my first few YouTube videos in my old house, it's just freaking Union Jacks everywhere. So at the time, I just loved Harry Potter in England so much, and I felt like these books were like the ultimate combination. It was the Harry Potter books that are set in the UK and the original English editions. And so for some bizarre reason I don't even fully understand, I just became so attached to these editions of the series. I thought they were so beautiful. I loved how colorful they were. But I would just see all of these pictures of this gorgeous set of Harry Potter on Tumblr and I was like, oh my gosh, I want this. So again, this was almost 10 years ago for me. I was not a big reader and definitely not a big book collector. I had no idea you could order books from other countries. I thought it was just like only ever going to have the US versions of Harry Potter unless I went to England. And then sometime in between then, when I just like thought I would never be able to have these gorgeous books, and when I actually went to England, I found out that these books are actually out of print and the publishers aren't putting them out anymore, so I wouldn't find them in Waterstones or something. So even when I was in England, I just like had no hope of finding them because they were out of print. I was like, I will never be able to have these books. So over some time, I've been doing a little searching online, and like, again, these aren't rare books. You can still easily find them if you just Google them online, you can buy them. But of course, I'm picky and I wanted them to be these beautiful, fresh editions, which was never gonna happen. So one night, I was just scrolling on Books, which is an online used and rare bookstore. They have like so many different books on there. But I found that there were so many listings for these books, and I was like, I think I can do this. I think I can finally buy them. So I spent hours going through like every single listing for each of these books, finding the ones that all were in like good or almost new condition and the ones that had the dust jacket and had no damage. Like, I was so picky with them, but I finally picked out a group of these hardcover editions that I've dreamed of for so long, and I bought them. So all of these are used, but they're all in such great condition. Also a cool fact, even though it doesn't really matter, but Order of the Phoenix, Half-Blood Prince, and Deathly Hallows are all first editions, which I think is really cool, and that just like happened to be a thing that came in the mail. So yeah, these are my dream books. These are a set of books that I have been literally dreaming about for almost 10 years now, and I finally have them in my own possession, and that's really, really exciting. Again, this isn't special to anyone but me. I probably sound like such a dork, but nonetheless, these books have been really symbolic to me over the years. It's something I've dreamed about for such a long time, and I finally have them, and that is just the most amazing feeling. So that concludes my September book haul. I'm literally in such a good mood right now because I have been waiting to film this video, show you my dream books, show you all of the new releases and cool editions of books that I got this month. It was just a really, really great month for book collecting for me, and so I'm super pleased. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video. In the comments below, let me know what books you bought or received this month because I would love to know, and if you guys have any dream books. I guarantee I'm not the only one here that like fawns over editions of books that they don't have yet. But that is it for this video. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you soon for a new video. Bye!